Welcome into Seahawks Today. I am your host, Will Ortner, and frankly, I got a double dose of good news for your Seattle Seahawks this week. You got a little bit of a break going into a strong Monday night game against the Houston Texans before you go into the bye week. But right now, I do want to take a look back at that Jacksonville Jaguars game because I think you saw just the true strength of what this team can be. Offensively, you have a superstar at wide receiver, and I'm going to tell you exactly how and why Jaxon Smith-Njigba is the number one wide receiver in the NFL in the 2025 season. And then this defensive line, it's special. Just how special are they? I'll let you know here in a little bit. I want you to be honest, though, right now. Go into the comments. Can the Seattle Seahawks win the NFC West? Right now, Vegas has you at plus 300 to do so. That means you are the third favorite in the division. The Rams are ahead of you and the 49ers. Can the Seahawks upset those two teams? Type yes if you think yes. Type no if you think no. We're going to dive into Jaxon Smith-Njigba to start. Right now, there's a conversation, and I do have to be fair. I think Jordan Schultz did start it, that Jaxon Smith-Njigba should be in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year. Frankly, I don't disagree. I think that maybe if he keeps playing the way he is, the way the Seahawks offense is moving, maybe he should be in the conversation for MVP as well. That's how good Jaxon Smith-Njigba has been this year. And when you look at the stats, I don't even think that they give you the full details of how good he has been, because right now he's 4 yards short of 700 through 6 games. His average is great. It's just under 20 yards a catch. I'll tell you right now, he could have even more yards, and he could have an extra touchdown or two. It just feels like Sam Darnold has been moving away from him ever so slightly when it comes to the red zone because, well, hey, A.J. Barner's getting open, and he looks really nice and enticing to find. Might be a little bit easier than a Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Here's the crazy thing about those stats, though, because he's number one in the NFL in receiving yards. He's high up in the receptions. They are misleading. What I mean by that is when you go through the individual game log for everything that Jaxon Smith-Njigba has done in the 2025 season, the stat line almost looks identical. It looks the same. The dude is a workhorse. He's blue collar. He comes in every single game. He gets close to 100 yards. The only game where he didn't get over 80 is that Thursday night football game against the Arizona Cardinals. You know why he didn't get over 80? Because they quadruple teamed him. Okay, that's hyperbole. But they were double teaming him for most of the game. He was caught in bracket coverage, but that left open wide receivers like Kupp, Torrey Horton, Elijah Arroyo at that tight end spot. Guess who pops open late in the game and makes big-time catches that helps get you the victory? Jaxon Smith-Njigba. He had 162 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll tell you right now, he dropped a third down where JSN would have gained about 20 yards on it. It was his only blemish of the game. He would be the first person to tell you right now that he should have caught that ball. Jaxon Smith-Njigba just continues to ball out and show up game after game after game. I can't tell you how many times that we've seen receivers with these big stat lines that have a game where they caught like 200 yards and they had like 10 catches and they were going up against some scrub at corner who's on the practice squad for a different team, but because of injuries, he had to end up showing up as a starter. Jaxon Smith-Njigba isn't doing that. He's going through, and the players that he needs to beat with his athleticism, he's beating them with his athleticism. The guys that he can beat with his football IQ, his brain, he's doing that too. Right now, he's getting the ultimate praise from a future Hall of Famer. Yakima's finest, Kupp, knows how to get open in the NFL. I mean, shoot, the kid won a triple crown. For those of you who don't know what that means, most receptions, most receiving yards, and most touchdowns. So it's not like Kupp doesn't know how to play the position. And when he's given this type of praise to someone as young as Jaxon Smith-Njigba, someone who honestly probably has more room to grow, you know you have a special talent in Seattle. Here's what Kupp had to say. It's not an easy thing to do, what he's been doing, knowing we come into games with opportunities for him to get the ball at all three levels. And defenses know that he's going to be a target. To consistently win over and over again when a defense you know is planning on taking him out of a game, it speaks volumes. What he means there is that teams are coming into games planning to double cover him. Teams are coming into games trying to think of a way to stop JSN. Back to the quote. It just shows the ability in route running and being able to understand the offense well enough to be able to move around and be in different spots. He's doing a really good job. Right now, Jaxon Smith-Njigba knows how to beat defenses, and he's taking advantage when he can. He had a good rookie year. He had a better sophomore year. He's having an incredible third year. That third-year jump right now is putting him at superstar status. This is an example that I have from the last game. Greg Newsome just gets traded. He's in Cleveland a couple weeks ago. Now he's with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If Greg Newsome's coming in the game, you know you're going to be in man coverage because he doesn't know the ins and outs of the defense. He doesn't know the checks, the changes, the different calls. Newsome is going to be in man coverage. Jaxon Smith-Njigba sees him out over him and says, okay, I know how to beat this guy. And burn him he does because JSN goes for 61, gets an easy tud, dances into the end zone, and it really kickstarted your offense in this one. Going into this game, when Jaxon Smith-Njigba was in single coverage, he led the NFL in his receiving grade according to PFF. He led the NFL in receiving yards. I'll tell you right now, that's over 400 yards now. And he led the NFL in first downs. Again, that number is getting higher. You see a lot of wide receivers in the NFL that have great athletic ability. DK Metcalf is great at this. There is no one that can keep up with DK Metcalf when it comes to his athleticism. He's bigger than you, he's stronger than you, and he's faster than you. But DK sometimes has mental lapses, makes mistakes. A guy like Cooper Kupp, man, sometimes he's going to run away from people, but most of the time he's going to get open because he's smarter than you. He's going to know what defense you're running and where to get open. Right now, Jaxon Smith-Njigba is a combo of both. Those numbers that you saw on the screen, they're even better now. And some of it is because, hey, one-on-one, I'm more athletic than you. I'm faster than you. Now, JSN might not be stronger than you. He might not be able to go and high point the ball like a DK Metcalf, but he knows how to use his athleticism to his own victory, to his own abilities to get him where he needs to be. But he also knows, hey, this is his own coverage. I can sit down in this hole right here and I'm going to be wide open. You have a player that is really moving this offense forward. Sam Darnold's playing great, don't get me wrong. But this rushing attack is not where it needs to be. But this offense still is clicking on all cylinders because of what Jaxon Smith-Njigba is able to do. Right now, I want you to sit down. It's very important that you do so because these are going to kind of blow your mind. Right now, Jaxon Smith-Njigba is on pace to break the franchise receiving record, which is over 1,300 yards set by DK Metcalf, in December. The season ends in January. He's going to break the record in December if he keeps up at this pace. He's about to break his own receptions record. He's at 43 receptions. The franchise record is right at 100. He said it. I believe he's tied with Tyler Lockett. It's insane how well Jaxon Smith-Njigba is playing, and it's not going to come down even the slightest. There are a lot of really good football players in the NFL when it comes to this wide receiver position. We're going to show you a graph. And what this graph means, it's fantasy points per yards route run. So basically, every time that a wide receiver lines up and runs a route, how many times does he catch the ball? How many times does he get you a fantasy point? Now, when you look at that, you can see, oh, hey, there's Travis Hunter kind of at the bottom. Calvin Ridley's kind of lower. Garrett Wilson's in kind of a cool spot. Oh, hey, look, all the way at the very top there. Oh, you know who that is? That's Puka Nacua and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Wow, they're doing pretty well. Where is Jaxon Smith-Njigba? Will, I circled him for you. He is so far off this list. His production is so elite. He doesn't even show up with Puka Nacua. He's averaging more fantasy points per yards run per route than anybody else in the league. Going into this game against Jacksonville, he was averaging 4 yards per route run. So that means every time he ran a route, whether he caught the ball or not, he was averaging 4 yards. The number has exploded. He's unbelievable right now. He needs his flowers. He deserves his flowers. We should give them to him. He's been that impressive. The fact that the national media is just now getting around to talking about him being an offensive player of the year, honestly, it's a shame on them. He should have been the Offensive Player of the Year conversation from the very beginning. Honestly, at this point, I think he might lead that convo. If Baker Mayfield's the MVP through the first 6 weeks, Jaxon Smith-Njigba should be number 2. I want you to let me know down in the comments right now, should Jaxon Smith-Njigba be in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation? I've already stood on the table. Shoot, I might be hyperbolic, and the fact that I say he should be in the MVP conversation, that's probably a little bit over my skis. But do you think he should be in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation? Let me know down below. Is that statement true or is that statement false? We're going to get into the defensive line and the greatness that is that group. But before we do, I need to talk to you about our proud sponsor of today's video. And that, of course, is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but being on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on any 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you could cash in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones are overhyped? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your takes into cash all season long on Prize Picks. You can see I've already jumped ahead for next week. I have a 2-pick power play. Travis Kelce, he finds the end zone. Jaxon Smith-Njigba, he finds the end zone as well. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. This is a special group that you have right now with this Seahawks defensive line, and I think the last 2 weeks really show Seahawks fans the difference between what this D-line is when they're 100% healthy and what they are not. You absolutely cooked in this defensive line group against the Jacksonville Jaguars. When you go through the stats, it's just so impressive. You set franchise records in a multitude of spots. 17 quarterback hits recorded by the Seahawks. It's a franchise record. Now, you can see there on this tweet from Hawk Blogger, great Seahawks beat reporter, it says needs verification. He got verification. That is a Seahawks record. The other impressive stat with this, that is the most QB knockdowns since the 2018 game against the San Francisco 49ers, which was 11. Here's the thing, though. In that game, you had 1 or 2 players that were going off. This was a return of multiple guys getting into the backfield. And it was spearheaded by your veteran leader, DeMarcus Lawrence. His return in this game was immediately felt. Now, I understand that he didn't have a sack before this game for your Seattle Seahawks, but when you look at what he was missing in that Tampa Bay game, he wasn't there. Your defensive line didn't get any pressure. He's back in this game, and he helped spearhead that pressure, and it opened up things for everybody else. I mean, just look at his Week 6 stats. You would have thought that the dude was as healthy as claimed, didn't have any issues. Coming in getting 2 sacks for your Seattle Seahawks. He was constantly providing pressure. He had multiple big hits against Trevor Lawrence. The amount of Lawrence on Lawrence violence was honestly frightening for Trevor and his family. It was so impressive. DeMarcus Lawrence got the whole thing started too. It felt like things were going the wrong way. DeMarcus Lawrence makes a great play in the backfield for one of his tackles for a loss. And then all of a sudden everything clicked. He had 2 sacks in this game. Honestly, if Byron Murphy and Uchenna Nwosu didn't beat him a couple other times, he probably would have had 3 or 4 sacks. Byron Murphy had this to say on the return of DeMarcus Lawrence. He brings so much energy to the team, to the D-line. We love D-Law. He's a hell of a player. As you could see today, he balled out. It's great having him back. Now, Lawrence isn't the only star. I already talked about it. Hey, man, yeah, Lawrence had a good game. It was great to have him back. You need him back. He helped stop the rushing attack. Hey, guess what? Travis Etienne Jr., a guy who had been 4th in the NFL in rushing yards, wasn't 4th after that game. You really stuffed him. He was averaging 5.8 a carry. Jaguars were under 4 a carry. But you also saw Uchenna Nwosu continue to make strides forward. You continued to see Byron Murphy take strides forward. When you look at some of the best edge rushers right now in the NFL, Uchenna Nwosu is one of them. So this comes from Hawk Blogger as well. You look at the sack leaders in the NFL since week 4. Uchenna Nwosu right now is tied for 3rd. he has 4 sacks. Remember, he missed the first 2 weeks because of his injury. Then he's kind of working his way back. He explodes against the Arizona Cardinals for 2 sacks. Now, he is one of the top edge rushers in the NFL. And here's the crazy thing about it. He's got 4 sacks on the year. That's good enough to put him 16th. He doesn't even lead your Seattle Seahawks in sacks. You think it's DeMarcus Lawrence? No, unfortunately, it's not him. Leonard Williams? No, it's not him either. It's Byron Murphy, your nose tackle. Your nose tackle has 4.5 sacks right now. That's good enough for top 8 in the NFL. This defensive line comes at you in waves. You have multiple guys who can get into the backfield, who can get sacks on the quarterback. It can come from Leonard Williams. It can come from Jaron Reed, Byron Murphy, Uchenna Nwosu, DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, shoot, even Derek Hall and Boye Mafe, they're still getting in the backfield. They just haven't been able to finish with sacks, and now Derek Hall is going to be out for a little bit. But this D-line, man, they are special, and they're only going to get better. They're only going to get better. You really haven't had a stretch of games where you've had everybody healthy. Remember, Uchenna Nwosu wasn't able to go for a little bit. Remember, you missed DeMarcus Lawrence for a little bit. Now you're missing Derek Hall again. This D-line can only improve as they get the entirety of their parts. The whole is better than the sum, right? As you get everyone back and everybody healthy so you can continue to rotate, guys don't get tired. It can be 2-3 plays, 100% effort, boom, next guy goes in. This defensive line is special, and they're only going to get better. And they're only going to get better as the secondary gets healthier too. Why? Because the secondary is going to be able to lock down receivers for a little bit longer. And if they lock them down for a little bit longer, gives your boys time to get into the backfield easier. I'm fired up, man. This is a special team. This is a special team. And I'm telling you right now, flu season is approaching us. Time to take your DayQuil. Take your vitamins. Get ready to be healthy because you got to buckle up. It's going to be a long season. This is a special team in Seattle. They are going to be very good. And they're going to need us, the 12s, the fans, supporting them, ready to rock and roll for the entire season. We need to be on message boards saying Jaxon Smith-Njigba should be an MVP so that way he gets that Offensive Player of the Year. Who knows? Maybe he gets to that MVP. We need to be telling people about how good this defensive line is so they get the love that they deserve. Because this is a really darn good team, and it can only get better as it gets healthier. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And until next time, I'll see you later.